So introduce yourself.
My name is Lauren Inman, and I am a former teacher and now currently an assistant principal. But when I was a teacher, I taught AVID, Advancement for via Individual Determination, and English.
Okay. What do you think teachers can do to try to be there for their students academically and personally?
So I think one thing that teachers have a really difficult time doing is thinking beyond their classroom, forgetting that students have several other classes during the day and have lives to go back to once the school day is over. So I think academically, having high expectations for students will always rise to high expectations. If you start the day with low expectations, they won't feel that drive to do their best. So having high expectations for them to achieve academically is the starting point. But I think, checking in with them regarding their other classes, making them feel like you not only care about how they're doing in your class, but academically overall, and engaging in their lives, what their interests are, knowing what they do when they go home, whether students have a study space to do their homework, or what their family dynamics are. Maybe they're expected to take care of their siblings in the evening, and that's something you need to consider as you create assignments and lessons, and really, I entered teaching because I wanted to be a lifelong learner, and so I'm always kind of striving to learn and be better for my students.
So how important are teachers in students' lives?
Teachers are really important in the lives of students. Sometimes students see their teachers for more hours during the day than they do their own families. And so teachers really represent that kind of, a consistent adult in their lives who can be a role model and can give them advice that could impact their future and their plans for post-secondary either career or college.
Teachers learn from their students.
As a former teacher, I felt like students brought just as much to the table in terms of knowledge and information and experience as I did as a teacher. And so I was always learning from my students and hopefully using that to become a better teacher and a better person. But in particular, my AVID students, they brought a greater awareness, more empathy from me, and kind of helped shape me as who I wanted to be as a teacher for all of my students, and not just for one set of students.
Do you think having a good relationship with your students makes any difference in their lives?
I hope so. I'm very passionate about education, and I want students to feel that from me. I want them to feel that high energy. I want them to feel that I care, and I've hoped that I've created a trusting relationship. My relationships with students have gone beyond my classroom, so I'm very fortunate to have many students come back and visit me, keep me updated on their lives, invite me to college graduations, and it's I like to think of my students as another set of my own children. So they mean a lot to me, and I hope I have made an impact on their lives as well.
What is your idea of a good student-teacher relationship?
I think it's important that the biggest piece is a trusting relationship, that students feel like they have an adult that they can go to if they're stressed, if they have concerns, if they're struggling, and that person can provide them with the resources that they need, or just an ear to listen. I think it's really important in terms of that relationship, what you bring to the table, and the level of respect that you give them as well. They're young adults, and they will make bad choices, and that's okay. Failure is a part of that experience, and being for them, still being there for them in spite of that is important, so that they know that you're always going to be there as somebody who cares about them. But you also push them when they need to be pushed.
Okay, Len, have you ever experienced a good or bad relationship with the teacher?
You know, I feel like that's a common question that gets asked to people who go into education is, who was that one teacher that inspired you? And I always feel guilty that I can't think of a specific teacher. No one really comes to mind. And it wasn't necessarily a teacher who motivated me to go into the field of education, but more of my own experience as a teenager, and wanting to provide other teenagers with support that I wish that I had had at that age. And you know, teenagers keep you on your toes at all times, and there's something thrilling about that as well. So again, it's a very neutral response to that question. I didn't have any really bad relationships, and I didn't have many phenomenal relationships. I think I was one of those kids who just kind of faded into the background and could easily be lost in the shuffle. So I really make an effort to make sure that there's no student who fades in the background.
Do you have any advice for me as a future teacher?
Advice. I think the biggest piece of advice is to always believe in the best intentions of students, and believe that they can do better and be better. If you do that and you go into it understanding that you have to constantly evolve yourself, there's going to be no set of students that come in that are exactly like the last set. And that's the thrilling part of being a teacher. But it is also at times a thankless job, and so finding, saving those notes from students, finding those kind of sweet spots of memories, pictures, and things like that, and looking back on them on the rough days where the lesson didn't go well or the kids were really not motivated, and reminding yourself constantly, why am I here? I'm here for students, and that'll help kind of put things in perspective.
Okay.
You'll do great.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cinnamon.